How is everyone doing? Let's make sure that we get some music up in here. Uh, just a second. How is everyone doing? It's good to have you all with me today. Good to have you. Good to have you. Yeah, sucks. Luckily, I pre-ordered and got a few boxes. Well, lucky you. But yeah, that I don't play. No, just no. Card games, no. 100% no. Just not. No. It's a horrible hobby. No, don't like it. Good to have you with me today. Okay. Hopefully there's not double sound going on, guys. Doing good. Love the hat. Thank you. Thank you. Good to have you all with me today. So, do you want to see a tourist talking about Dragon Age? Let me show you something. You want to see a tourist talking about Dragon Age? I'll show you. Game Freak, I'm not talking about that. That's nice. That's a kid on a mom's belly. Zero accountability, looks like. Probably. Oh, is that? Nice. Where is it? Oh, I got it on here. So, alright. You want to check out something funny? I'll show you. Let's show you right now. Okay, let me show you. Let me show you a fake fan. Let me show you a fake fan. Let me show you. So, this person down here at the bottom was making a joke about Dragon Age the Veilguard, as you should. And then a person pretending to be Japanese, I don't really give a fuck, but they were like, in Dragon Age Origins, there was a bisexual nun and elven assassin. That's true. There was. Morgan was a feminist. And the Grey Warden organization was explicitly an all-inclusive organization that took in anyone that was willing. The sequel had you running around town with bisexual friends. This is a retarded person. And this person right here is the reason that we don't get any more Dragon Age. Don't know why they brought up the bisexual nun and elven assassin. I mean, you could literally leave them or kill them. You have a choice. You see them, you don't like them, you can get rid of them. But let's focus on the biggest one. Morgan was a feminist. Does anybody know what a feminist is? Oh, that's a person that nobody wants to be around. Focused on, you know, oh, well, hashtag me too, and my body, my choice, and all this destructive shit. Morgan would hate feminists. By the way, Morgan is straight, by the way. I don't know if you know anything about that. Morgan was straight. Is straight. Morgan is not a feminist. Morgan literally laughs in the face of feminists. Let me show you what I wrote down. I said, feminism wasn't around then, and Morgan would hate feminists. She would see the weakness in men and women and laugh. She would. You know what's funny? Is the fact that unlike feminists who pretend like they care about their mom, Morgan actually loved her mother. That's right. Feminists out here pretending like they care about their mom, They don't care about their dad. We already established that. But Morgan, you know, cared about her mother to an extent. Like, I know there was like a deep thing that you see moments between her, even in Origins and even all the way up into Inquisition. There was an importance there that she cared about her mother. So that's already, because feminists don't like any of their parents. They don't like parents. They like to make their own family. That's what feminists like to do. That everybody coming out here is like, oh, feminists only like their mothers. No, they don't like their family. They don't even like themselves. That's what feminists are. That's why they're always completely fucking alone. The only reason that Morgan is completely fucking alone is a different story completely. This is not a woman in the middle of the city. This is a woman that became a witch and was born a witch. Okay, this is not some sort of like, oh shit, well, she's amongst friends. No, she was not amongst friends. As a matter of fact, she was very curious about the world outside of the marsh. Feminists don't like to be curious. Feminists like to be alone. They don't like to be curious about shit. Feminists also like to blame everybody else on everything. Morgan detests other things and doesn't want to involve herself in certain things. But that's only because she's been alone her entire life. She's been alone her entire life. That was her thing. This was not some sort of like, oh man, I'm a girl in the middle of the city with all these other kids and all this stuff. No, she was laid there and stayed there with her mother, and her mother forced her to stay within that place until you arrived. Here's also another thing that feminists don't really like to do. Feminists don't like to keep their children. They like to kill their children. Morgan doesn't kill her child. She actually takes care of her child. As a matter of fact, she actually takes care of her man as well. She actually stays with the husband if you're like in a relationship with her and stuff like that. So that's not really a feminist trait. Feminists would dump that fucking child into the fucking sea. Okay? And there are moments where Morgan likes to pretend that she wants to fuck whoever she wants to fuck. But as soon as you start to tell her, like, listen, I'm gonna go. And this is perfect, by the way. This is the only slight bit of feminism, but this is not her being a feminist. This is her being a whore. I mean, we can talk about feminists being whores, but you know, this is her having she like every woman having a hoe phase. Like that's not really you know, perpendicular to feminism. Okay, you can take out feminism completely. There's women with hoe phases. Okay, don't come up to me going like, oh, she'll fuck any man even though she's with a man, and I'm like, you don't even need feminism. You ladies do that anyway. You fuck feminism. That's not even feminism. That's just you being a whore. Okay, so stop with that. Like, she tried to get with Sten, but Sten wasn't having that shit because he called her a whore. and here's the thing. Here's the funny thing is, you try to get with Liliana. Why is Morgan all of a sudden going like, are you with that one redhead? Wow. I've never seen this before. A woman pretending like she wants agency and she doesn't care about you, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute, fuck. I do want a man. I do want somebody all to myself. And so that's what I liked a little bit about the writers back then, is that women, surprise, surprise, are bullshitters. Wow, I didn't see that coming. What? A woman that's a bullshitter? Wow, I didn't see that coming before. Here's another one. The Grey Wardens were not inclusive, you dumb bitch. If you survived the trials, your life was over. And that's true. Your life's over. Your only life is Darkspawn now. If you tried to leave during the trials, your life was also over. They don't include people that fail. That's not inclusive. You don't like, oh man, I messed up the trials. Can I try again? No, bitch. You're dead. Oh man, well, can I come back later and do the trials next time? I'm not feeling too good about trying to become a Grey Warden. No, bitch. You're dead. There was no inclusivity. That was merit and luck if you're lucky enough to drink the Darkspawn blood and live. Fucking tourists. Fucking disgusting tourists, a lot of them. Absolutely horrendous, bro. Absolutely horrendous. It used to be about dragons, mages, templars, darkspawn, and Grey Wardens. And the funny thing is, she says over here like, yo, the sequel had you running around town. The sequel had you running around town with your bisexual friends. You are specifying that every single one of these niggas was bisexual. They are not. They didn't have that in Dragon Age fucking 2, and they didn't have that in Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age the Veilguard, the one that failed, fucking disgusting piece of garbage, is the only one where everybody's bisexual. So you being a like cut the bullshit, okay? It's like, oh man, turns out I'm not gay, I only like boys. Oh man, I only like women. Oh man, well I like both. And then another person's like, oh well, I only like men and stuff like that. Wow. Like difference, you know, of opinions. You coming out and saying you're hanging around with your bisexual friends, you are the reason that we get bad video games. Because that's all that you think about. Disgusting. Fucking disgusting, bro. Since we're on Dragon Age, we're going to talk about Dragon Age. Okay, Dragon Age Remastered Trilogy. How's everybody doing? Good to have you. Good to have you. I miss the old ways. I miss the old ways as well, my dude. I miss it as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. All right. I hope the music is not on double. If it is double, just let me know. I'll put the headphones back on and ditch the hat. I should get some earbuds or something like that. Maybe to split the volume, or if it's not split, then hell, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Turn this down. Okay. Cool. We're good. Thank you, Michael. Hey everybody, this is Mr. Hardcore Mode, where nothing's easy. Warriors and wenches, how y'all doing? And God bless. We are here to talk about Dragon Age a remaster that was possibly in the works, but it's not going to happen. EA is in some bullshit right now, where they're laying off people, and then all of a sudden the CEO has money that magically comes out of nowhere. You know how it is. Let's just keep it how it is, you know what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and listen to what they got to say about a possible remaster and remake. A Dragon Age Remaster trilogy is unlikely because nobody left at BioWare knows the old Aura engine. The series' former producer says the first two Dragon Age games were developed using updated versions of Aurora. So leave it alone. Do I want to read this whole news article? No, I don't want to read it. Let's keep going, because I got a video I want to show you. Let's keep going. We don't need a remaster. We don't need a remake of Dragon Age, okay? If there's nobody left, then that's on them, and that's on the whole development studio, okay? We don't need it. Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 are unlikely to get a trilogy remaster, according to former BioWare executive producer Mark Dara. That fucking faggot. Even though they originally planned a Champions Edition of the first 3 games, similar to Mass Effect's Legendary Edition, don't need it. There's basically no one outside of BioWare anymore that understands the Aurora engine. So unlike Mass Effect, which is Unreal, there are basically no companies that could help you. Yeah, we're fine. Music sounds fine. That's good. So, no, you don't need a remaster. You don't need a remake. The game is perfectly the way it is. We don't need to change anything. You're done. You're done. You are completely done. You don't need to come out and come to us saying like, ooh, this would be a good idea. No, you're good. This is one of those moments where it's just like, sit down. You want to do Mass Effect? Fine. Probably going to fail too, but sit down. Just stop. I'm sick and tired of these people. I'm especially sick and tired of Mark Dara, the supposed, like, executive, executive person working there. They all gotta go. It's time to reach the next chapter in your life. It's either McDonald's or a new game studio. You figure it out. Let's go ahead and watch this video that I wanted to watch called How Dragon Age the Veilguard Killed the Franchise. I hope this person captures every single mark that was the reason for their downfall. Let's go ahead and dive right in, shall we, boys? Let's go ahead and do this.
Franchise in one launch. It missed Electronic Arts' sales target by half, lost nearly 80% of its players in the first month.
No shit.
And got BioWare cut to pieces. This is what a game looks like when it's cancelled twice, rebuilt in a panic and shipped anyway. When people say Veilguard...
Are you going to concentrate on EA or are you going to talk about the developers? Because if you do this whole EA bullshit thing, let's keep going.
Killed the Dragon Age franchise, this is what they mean. An ordinary flop gets patched, discounted and forgiven.
I'm sorry, what did he say?
In a panic and shipped anyway. When people say Veilguard killed the Dragon Age franchise, this is what they mean. An ordinary flop gets patched, discounted and forgiven. And the series lives to try again. Veilguard failed so hard that Electronic Arts gave up on the series itself.
Good.
Today there is nothing left to wait for.
Good.
There will be no story expansions ever. The next mainline Dragon Age does not exist.
Nope.
And Electronic Arts will not say when or whether that will change.
Nope, they're done.
For the first time since 2009.
You had a chance to capitalize and bring something new to the table of Dragon Age, but your only focus was to make quirky Disneyfication jokes, have dumbass fucking retarded characters, have frumpy ass looking character designs, forego the lore, change the lore, forget the lore, and then dump old developers, not give them their severance, and then this is what you get. Also, thank you for giving us the ability to cut our tits off. Thank you so much. We needed that focus. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Yeah, there's definitely going to be straight characters and bisexual characters or gay characters. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I bet you $100,000. Well, let's be realistic, okay? Let's say $200. I bet you $200 that Veilguard, we'll say just Veilguard. If Veilguard dumped out all the gay and weird shit, all of it, everybody's straight. If you dumped out all of the Veilguard's weird ass fucking trans, gay, all that shit, and have everybody be straight, you would have a green arrow going up. You would have a plus sign compared to what you have right now. It wouldn't be much. The game still sucks, but you would have a bonus. Right here, it's this low. But if there was no gay characters at all and none of that weird shit, I'm just saying. I am just saying. That's just how this is. I'm sick and tired of lying to people. I'm sick and tired of trying to be nice within the middle and shit. I'm just gonna lay it how it is. If you did this, you would have a little bit more people. So now you have to bring it up in your brain and say, wait a minute, can a game be good with gay characters? Yes, but not everybody has a Sven Vinka. You see what I'm saying? Not every developer has a Sven Vinka making Baldur's Gate 3.
There is no Dragon Age on any release calendar, and the fan base that spent a decade and a half arguing about companions and lore and endings now spends its time writing farewells. If you have ever loved a BioWare game, you know how loud this community used to be. The silence around Dragon Age right now is the sound of people who have stopped waiting. It did not start out like this. 10 years earlier, nobody in the games industry was riding higher than BioWare, and nothing BioWare made stood taller than
10 years ago? 10 years ago? Whoa. I'm sorry. Wait, 10 years ago? Say that again.
Waiting. It did not start out like this. 10 years earlier, nobody in the games industry was riding higher than BioWare, and nothing BioWare made stood taller than Dragon Age.
There were other RPGs out there that were doing well. Do you know how long Dragon Age the Veilguard took to make? I believe 8+ to 10 years. So 10 years earlier. If you're talking about Dragon Age, we can have a conversation about that. But BioWare in general, I do not want to have this conversation about just the IP. It is the culture within the ecosystem of the dev team. They all, no, not all, half or at least a small minority of developers went fucking berserk crazy. Left-leaning libtards, fucking weird demonic creatures seeped their way within BioWare, and these minority people were not small developers. They were creators. They were the upper echelon. So those people told the people below what to do. You see where I'm going at? This is the whole thing where I talk about leadership and how important it is. Well, if the leadership sucks, well, guess what? You know, they end up getting laid off and then sent over to Wizard of the Coast because you're trans, and now you're working on the next Baldur's Gate called with Skeleton Key, whatever development studio. That's right. Somebody failed upwards. What was it? Corn Bush, that fucking transsexual gendermancer, fucking weird ass freak dude. Yeah, he failed upward. He failed, fucked up Dragon Age, and then went over to WotC. It's like, oh shit, I was in BioWare, but now I'm in Wizard of the Coast? What? You see what I'm saying? Now let's get back to the part where we're talking about like 10 years earlier. I'm sorry to say, but indie developers were coming out in droves, making something because they couldn't wait for BioWare, okay? There's a lot of developers trying to make sci-fi stuff right now to, you know, have that gap that they feel over Mass Effect. And they also made RPGs. We got Tainted Grail. We got ourselves even like Elix. Oh, Elix is kind of good, but not everybody likes Elix. I understand. We even have ourselves Expedition 33, a good RPG. What else do we have? Baldur's Gate 3 came in. You remember when the Baldur's Gate 3 came in? And then the BioWare devs were like, listen, it's their fault that we failed. And I was like, okay. I'm sorry to say that there is more than one person making an RPG. I know, this is, I know, this is crazy. I know. Listen, they were tired of waiting, so they're making their own shit. And there's still more coming.
In December of 2014...
By the way, what was before Dragon Age Inquisition? Or, you know, what was before Dragon Age The Veil that came out? Anthem? Mass Effect Andromeda?
The industry gathered in a Las Vegas theatre for the very first Game Awards, a brand new show built to crown the best of the year. The biggest trophy of the night went to Dragon Age Inquisition.
This was not 10 years ago. You said 10 years earlier. 10 years ago, they were still trying to make this game. I mean, if you want to... Okay, I'm going to just pretend that he's adjusting time here. But yeah, 10 years... You're talking about like this old ass shit right here. It was like, oh, they win Game of the Year, Game Awards. And I'm like, yeah, that was a long time ago. I'm not even... It's a long time ago.
Game of the Year over everything else 2014 had produced. Plus,
the video audio is double? I got you. I got you.
best role-playing game on top of it. For BioWare, the studio that had already given the world Mass Effect, this was the summit of 2 decades of work. Mike Laidlaw, the creative director,
he left a long time ago.
Dragon Age Origins and steered the series ever since.
He's
Watched
long
Dragon
gone.
Age collect the industry's biggest prize. The money mattered even more than the trophies, because Inquisition had arrived when BioWare needed a win more than the audience knew. It went on to sell more than 12 million copies, the best-selling game in BioWare's history, and Electronic Arts, the publisher that had owned BioWare since 2007, told its investors it was the most successful launch the studio had ever had. The series' reputation had been earned the hard way.
When you realize that your game sold 12 million, do you know what you have to do now, right? You have that. Developers, especially AAA developers, like to do this thing where they like to celebrate way too long and way too hard, and then reminisce about the time that they succeeded. I'm talking about you, Bethesda. This is a point in your life where you reach 12 million copies of Dragon Age Inquisition, and you have to tell yourself, why did this succeed? Why did this succeed? Why did this game fail? That sort of thing, like Dragon Age 2. There's a reason Dragon Age 2, was, lackluster. But Dragon Age Inquisition, you have to figure out what was the good and then what was the bad. And then you have to listen to your fans, not up on Reddit, because it's completely biased up on Reddit. Please stop doing that. For the love of God, stop going on Reddit. Look up stuff on Twitter. Look up stuff on TikTok. It can be a little bit unbiased, but not too much on TikTok. But look on stuff like that. You'll listen and hear people say, hey, I like Inquisition, but I miss the dark theme of Dragon Age Origins. I miss the combat in dark Dragon Age Origins. I miss this and that, within Dragon Age Origins. We need to find ourselves to, go back a bit, but also still keep a level of, of what Dragon Age Inquisition brought to the table. Okay? Also, I want to let everybody know a little secret. A majority of men play this game, and a majority of those men are actually straight. And there was actually attractive women within this game. You had Cassandra, and you also had, what's her name? A lot of people liked her. Not Eliana. What was her name? She looked really beautiful. Josephine. Josephine. Yeah. Okay, I had to make sure. Yeah. There were also women that liked Cullen. There were also a lot of people that liked Doran Pavas. Probably not to fuck, but the fact that his story was really good. Sarah was retarded. Corypheus, the main antagonist, was actually interesting, only to find out that he wasn't actually the main antagonist. You see where I'm going at? We can constantly have this conversation about artistic design, and on the fact that we just want hot characters. And if you don't give us hot characters, then we're not going to fucking play your game. Tell me, who's the hot character in Dragon Age the Veilguard? Okay.
Dragon Age Origins, the game that started it all, was grim,
Josephine saved
muddy,
Dragon Age Inquisition.
Dark fantasy, a world where you could doom an entire elven clan, and the story would simply carry your decision forward. Critics scored it in the 90s, and it turned Dragon Age into the standard that other fantasy role-playing games got measured against. And what people loved about these games was never really the combat. A BioWare role-playing game meant companions who felt like real people, and choices that actually cost you something. Dragon Age took that promise further than almost anyone in the industry. The series remembered what you did. A decision you made back in Origins could resurface in a game you played 5 years later, because your saves carried forward, and the world remembered every ruler you crowned and every friend you buried. That memory, the feeling that this world was your story, was the engine of the fandom's devotion. And the people building that memory, the writers, were the closest thing by.
I wanna let you in on a little secret, my guy. People do like good stories and good writing. The idea that the companions are like the biggest forefront is partly a thing, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If there were no romances and your game fails, then then your combat sucked. You got to make sure that your combat and the story is good. Okay? And also, as much as I love video games and I love stories and I love writing, you have to make sure that you have a good video game. Okay? That is very, very important, because I'll tell you right now, when it comes to companions and relationships, that's good for a lot of different people, but when we're talking about relationships, that's a make or break. Do you understand what I'm saying? You cannot fuck up the relationships at all. Picture this. Well, you could picture Dragon Age the Veilguard, but why did Outer Worlds and Outer Worlds 2 fail? The reason that Outer Worlds failed was because of the writing, the world, and also the companions. The companions were lackluster. They were boring. If they added relationships within Outer Worlds, it would still be a bad game. It wouldn't add anything to the game. Relationships are great in video games. They're cool. But you have to make sure that you have a big, meaty video game underneath that. Take Stardew Valley, for instance. Stardew Valley is a life sim RPG game. There's a lot to do in that game. Do you have romances? Sure. Just like every RPG, you can ignore that. You have to make sure that your video game is a video game. Because if you don't have that, people are going to stand there wondering, am I going to play the game yet? Long ass cutscenes. Am I playing a Hideo Kojima game? Can I play the game now? You have to make sure that you're playing a video game. And yes, you can have conversations and choices that enhance the video game. But what happens when your choices don't fucking matter? Well, you get Dragon Age the Veilguard.
BioWare had to a crown jewel. Behind the trophy, though, the picture was already more complicated. Inquisition was a hit that had nearly broken the studio making it. Deep into production, BioWare's own playtest lab scored the combat at 1.2 out of 10. The entire first act had to be torn up and rewritten late. And 8 months before ship, the game still could not put a full party of companions on screen. What saved it was a delay. Electronic Arts that one time signed off on an entire extra
Frost
year,
engine.
and BioWare used the time to drag Inquisition over the line. The reporting that followed BioWare's collapse would later draw a dark lesson out of that win, that the success covered up problems already eating the studio from the inside. None of that was visible from the theatre seats. What was visible, if you were watching from the top of the company, was value. To Electronic Arts, that trophy was proof of what Dragon Age could be worth, and the company had held strong opinions for years about how to turn
what does
that worth
oversold
into money.
mean?
You could see those opinions all over Dragon Age's own history. The first opinion was about time. After Origins became a hit, another BioWare project slipped its date. A hole opened up in Electronic Arts' release calendar, and the Dragon Age team was ordered to fill it.
Yep.
Mark Darrah, the executive producer who would end up carrying this franchise for a decade, later said it flat out: Dragon Age 2 exists to fill that hole. The team got roughly 16 months to build an entire...
This is the part where I completely agree that EA is at fault. I will give them that. But here's the thing, though. You need to realize is that this is why... When you're doing contracts and you want to work with certain people and you want them to be the publisher and give you proper funding, you need to figure out a 10-year, 15-year plan of who the hell you guys are. You can't just look at a fucking... because as soon as you see the money flowing in, your eyes are stars and you're not thinking straight and you're just like, oh man, we could make video games forever. You need to realize that every time you sign this shit, you need to make sure that you prepare for the future. They did not prepare for the future. They were just happy enough to get some funding to make video games, which is funny because BioWare could have made proper funding. If they made at least 2 more good video games, they could be CRPGs. BioWare already has good stuff on Beamdog and stuff like that. They could have made 2 more good CRPGs and then completely have went their own way. Kind of like with Owlcat Games. Now, Owlcat Games, I got some problems with them because they need to make their fucking own IP and stop dragging along different IPs. Make your own shit, goddammit. But they're doing their own thing. They're not trying to sign up with EA. They're not trying to sign up with Ubisoft. They're doing their own thing at their own budget. And when when BioWare signed up with EA, Origins did well, and then they wanted immediately another Dragon Age. You said 16 months? Yes, 16 months. 2 years. 2 years to make a game. I know it says 16 months, but literally 2 years. 2 years to make a game. And this is the point where you need to be like, all right, we need to rough draft. We need to edit that contract. These niggas just came in here and said, make a game in 16 months. Who the fuck says that? What the fuck? Who did we sign up with? It's like when you bunk in with a new roommate and then they do something weird and you think to yourself, well, I'm not going to fucking talk about this tomorrow or next week. I'm going to talk about this now. Dude, why the fuck are you leaving giant dookies inside the fucking toilet and not flushing the toilet? You see what I'm saying?
Sequel, and the shortcuts are visible from orbit. There was no time to build enough dungeons, so the game kept reusing the same handful of materials.
No, Robin, I didn't.
You would enter a brand new quest and find yourself in the exact same cave as an hour ago. Same tunnels, same rooms, a different door sealed off, and a new name on the map. It had flashes of brilliance, and its reviews still trailed Origins by a mile. The lesson a healthier publisher might have taken.
That 82 is still good. That for the rushing, they did a really good job. I'm gonna be honest.
Is that Dragon Age needed time. The lesson that stuck was that Dragon Age would ship when the calendar said so. The second opinion was the engine. Electronic Arts had standardized its studios onto Frostbite, in-house technology built for first-person shooters. And Inquisition became one of the first big role-playing games forced to run on it. Frostbite had no...
How long is he gonna keep on telling me about the past? Because I already know about the past. Let's keep going.
Systems for
I already know
saves,
about the past, but let's
inventory,
keep going.
dialogue, or party members. So BioWare's developers built all of it from scratch while building the game itself.
Yes, they did.
In early builds,
This was back when they were actually developers, and they were just trying their best.
of Inquisition, only your own character could speak. You would pick a dialogue line, the other half of the conversation would play back as silent beeps. And then it was your turn again. One of BioWare's own developers eventually put the whole experience into a phrase that followed the engine around for years. Frostbite is full of razor blades. Whatever part of it you grabbed, it cut you. And because of how the company was run, those hard-won tools kept not being shared. So team after team at BioWare ended up rebuilding the same basics again and again. Every hour spent resolving an inventory screen was an hour that never reached the part of the game you would actually play. Dragon Age paid that tax on every project it had left. The third opinion was the big one. By the middle of the decade, Electronic Arts had come to believe sincerely and completely that the future of this industry was live services, games that never end and never stop charging. Even Inquisition, the most acclaimed single-player game the company owned, shipped with a 4-player online co-op mode bolted onto the side, because in that building, in those years, a game without an online component was a hard thing to greenlight.
Nobody played that co-op mode. I know I hear you saying down below that you played the co-op. You only played a little bit, and then you stopped, okay? Don't give me this shit like, oh shit, I leveled up everybody! Ah! No, you're not the large majority, especially with the co-op thing with Mass Effect, okay? Just stop. Just stop. As much as I completely agree that we should have more gameplay, this is not what BioWare is all about. They did the same thing with Arcane Studios. They're doing the same thing here. Different publisher, of course. I played that call. It doesn't fucking matter. Not many people played it.
That belief was already old.
That shit was a waste of time and money. You didn't go anywhere. There was some little boss battles here, but that shit dragged on and went nowhere.
When Veilguard shipped a decade later, and it would still be alive after the funeral. And yet, the next Dragon Age, the project that would eventually sour into Veilguard, did not start as anything Electronic Arts was dreaming about. It started as the most promising pitch BioWare had put together in years. In 2015, a small team inside BioWare began work on the fourth Dragon Age, under the codename Joplin. Laidlaw was its creative director.
He left.
Dara, the man who had shipped to Dragon Age 2 on that impossible clock, ran the production. And the game they were sketching was nothing like Inquisition's sprawling open
Disgusting.
world, which is what everyone expected the studio to chase next. Joplin was deliberately smaller. It was set in the Tevinter Imperium, the corner of this world that fans had spent a decade begging to visit. And it was built around heists.
And how the fuck did that go? How the fuck did that go?
You would run jobs with a small crew, and the design leaned into the series' old strengths in a way no Dragon.
I want to let you in on a little secret, okay? This whole little heist and spies thing, I'm gonna let you in on something. It sounds interesting in theory. It would have not made a good Dragon Age 4 game. I'm sorry to say. Now, it's a very interesting subplot to Dragon Age 4, but what your character needs to be in Dragon Age is a person of importance. Not too, you don't have to fucking go like king and queens on me, but you have to be of someone of importance. Or you could pull off something where it's just like, I was like, oh man, you started from the bottom and now you're here. That would be kind of interesting. But this whole idea of spies and heists, what are we talking about? You're running around in heavy armor and you're talking about being a spy? What are we talking about? This sounds like rogue territory. When you talk about heists and you talk about spies or stealing stuff like this sounds like something for one mainline character, some rogue or some ranger or whatever, doing something at the side of the game. You need to have your character be Grey Warden. Even Dragon Age 2, where your character was centered around being, I believe, man, your character was, god damn it, what was it? I know you were of nobility. I'll just say nobility. A person of nobility. Okay, I can roll with that. It was really deep in religion with the second game, and also different cultures. And then the third one came out where it was part of the Inquisition. 3 games where it definitely focused on you having a level of importance or duty. When you have a 4th game saying like, ooh, you're gonna be a spy, you're a inventor, you're being some sort of you're a ghost in the shell. This is cool for only one type of person. So when you role play, it looks weird. Hey, we're sneaking around. We're trying to look for like fucking it's like we heard that there were elven slaves under the Tevinter Imperium. We're gonna rescue them. You're hauling around fucking giant ass gear and shit with a giant bastard sword on your back. And I'm just like, I fucking look retarded. That's all I'm saying. If you adjusted it to the point where it's just like, well, you have a certain thing that you have to do because you're tied to the Inquisition, we could talk about that. Also, the name Rook, gay.
Dragon Age had before. Instead of clearing camps on a map.
I will tell you this, though. Whatever game that they had cooked up with Mike Laidlaw, before Mark Dara fucked it up with his gender queerness bullshit, it would have been at least 5 or 6 times better than what we got.
You could talk your way past guards, extort them, read the room, and improvise when a job went sideways. Fewer systems.
A perfect example is like Mass Effect, where you're a Spectre. You see what I'm saying? Where you were part of a ship and part of a crew, and you were Shepard. That's interesting because now you can be whatever you want. You can be an adept, you can be into biotics, you can be like a techie, you can be a soldier, and you still fit within the line of being a commander of your own ship, being a Spectre. But when you do this whole thing where it's like espionage, crime, and I'm like, well, what if you want to be a Templar? And you don't want to be lying and shit. You see what I'm saying? I want to be a Templar where I don't lie and I'm a good boy. Well, here you are, playing a spy heist game where you have to lie now. You see what I'm saying?
More consequence. The people who worked on Joplin would later describe it to reporters with something close to grief, because on paper, this was the studio getting to be BioWare again. Inside the building, though, Joplin spent its whole life.
And to be honest, there's room for improvement for Mike Laidlaw's idea. So it's not like trash it completely. I'm just saying we need to adjust, okay? This whole idea of you being like ooh, we're stealing stuff. Don't mind if I do. And you're a giant Canary with a fucking giant tower shield and a sword. And you're like...
fighting for oxygen.
He's like, oh shit! They're within this mansion where we're hiding loot. They're right there. And you're like, how did he see me? I don't know, nigga. Maybe it's the giant horns and the loud ass armor. I don't know. You're not a tiny elven person not wearing shoes.
BioWare had 2 other fires burning. Mass Effect Andromeda, the studio's troubled space sequel, was limping toward launch and kept pulling Dragon Age developers in to help push it over the line. And behind Andromeda stood Anthem, the studio's massive bet on exactly the kind of always online, never-ending game Electronic Arts wanted, a project that was years late, directionless and hungry for staff.
I keep telling you guys that you need to have a leader that fucking says no. Casey Hudson didn't do that. Mark Dara didn't do that. Mike Laidlaw didn't do that. Nobody came up, looked at the contract, and then finally said, this is where we're going to stick to, and this is what we're going to do. He's like, we could meet in the middle and then try something. Oh, you don't want to meet in the middle? Then we'll cut off and then we'll split. Or you could do so many things. You are making a gilded cage yourself when you're working with EA, okay? You're making a gilded cage when you're working with EA and you don't make any tough decisions. And so what do you guys do? You just up and leave. Like a little bitch. Nobody coming up and saying, nobody came out and said, it's like, I got a great idea for a single player game. It's like, hey, are you going to add a live service to it? No, how did that work last time? That's what I fucking thought. Anyway, we're going to do this game for a one-player game. It's going to be open world. We got some great ideas. We're going to try to tie ourselves back into our roots so we can bring more people in like we had with Dragon Age Inquisition. We're also with Mass Effect. We're going to dial it way back. And then since Shepard's story is done, we're going to go ahead and focus maybe backwards. Maybe we should focus on N7, or maybe we can move forward and have a different story where there's a different plot with different enemies on their way to cause mass destruction. We can make something up. We can dish something out. And I get it. I understand that when you're having these pitches with EA where they're just like, oh, well, I don't know. And here's the thing though. You just need to look at them and say, you see this live service game that we made? Oh yeah, we told you to make that. How did that go? Oh yeah, that's right. It didn't do it too well. Yeah, it didn't do too well. Now watch this. The problem is gone. So you don't want to do live services. Hey, you're catching on. You're catching on. And what game did we make that didn't have any live service, that made a lot of money? He's like, oh, but it had multiplayer attached to it. Are you talking about Inquisition? Yeah, but who's playing the multiplayer game? Like, judging from the numbers, like 50,000 people. Yeah, that's not a lot. Yeah, that's a waste of money. That's not a lot. It's not a lot. We're talking... I'll be generous. There's probably, out of the 12 million copies that they sold, maybe 500,000 people were playing that trash, and maybe a little bit more when people got curious and then they backed out and said, this is ridiculous. Let me go play a new game, not a new game plus, but a different character playing the main story. Because guess what happens? They play the multiplayer game. All the people that came to Dragon Age Inquisition came for a story written campaign with relationships, with RPG style mechanic, a full run game where you can go to different places. Nobody came in and said, bro, I can't wait to get on Inquisition and bro, me and my boys, we're gonna go and go level our elves together, and then we're going to dive into these one areas. Like, nobody said this. Nobody came out and says, bro, do you want to get on Inquisition so we can level up our fucking Canaries? Nobody said this dumb shit. No one said this. People played it in secret. They played it, maybe a little or a lot, and then they bolted. They went right back to Inquisition, the single-player game.
Again and again, Joplin got raided to feed both. The next Dragon Age was losing its makers one desk at a time to the very kind of game its publisher wished it would become. Dara, years later and long gone from BioWare, put a date on what was lost. He said, in his own words, that Joplin is going to live as this mythological game in a lot of people's memories. In his telling, a finished Joplin would have shipped in February of 2019, landing in the release window that went to Anthem instead, the most damaging launch in the studio's history. The man who ran Dragon Age believed the game BioWare was about to kill would have arrived years earlier, cheaper and better than the Veilguard that eventually shipped in its place.
Could have been better.
For 2
I mean,
years,
anything.
Joplin
Anything could have been better than Veilguard, let's be honest.
survived on scraps and borrowed people. In October of 2017, the patience upstairs ran out. The order that came down from Electronic Arts was simple, and it was not a suggestion. The next Dragon Age would be a live service game. It would be an online product designed to hold players for years.
Wait. Initially envisioned as a smaller scale conventional RPG, a mandate from EA forced the Veilguard to shift to a live service game in October 2017. Marching orders that were apparently delivered that night from former Dragon Age director Mike Laidlaw left the studio. That's what he said. And I want to level with you guys here. Okay? They still had so much time to change things. So much fucking time. So they were making an infrastructure to make a live service. So let's say October 2017 they want to shift it at that time. Okay. That's 2017. Right? Okay. And then I believe he's going to say it here in a minute. I believe a little bit later they finally told them we're not going to do it and go right back to single player. That's why Veilguard kind of looks like a live service area, judging by the way the levels look, the leveling area looks. And so I'm over here just saying to myself, wait a minute. So if you just talked to them and did the numbers and did the time in your head and then said like, hey, we're already making a conventional RPG right now. If you were to do this, it would smash the whole thing, and then you're not gonna get any. Just say that. Don't tell them about the story or anything. They don't give a fuck about that shit. Just say, hey man, if we try to shove a fucking live service in Dragon Age 4, it's not going to sell. And they're like, oh shit, well I don't like negative money. I don't like no money. I want money. Yeah, so tell you what, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna stay the course. And here's the funny thing: the game didn't come out until 2024, I believe. 2024. The game Veilguard didn't come out until 2024. So now I'm over here saying like, wait a minute. They said that they didn't want to wait, right? You said that, hey, you're taking too long. You said that, right? Oh shit. Let me go back. You said that.
Kill would have arrived years earlier, cheaper and better than the Veilguard that eventually shipped in its place. For 2 years, Joplin survived on scraps and borrowed people. In October of 2017, the patience upstairs ran out.
So 2 years. The funny thing is that the developers, the funny thing is that you literally had this same conversation before. So this is the point where because I'm pretty sure around 2017 is when live services were probably trying to appear left and right, I think. And then they were thinking, oh shit, what if we had a fucking what's it called? A PUBG fucking Dragon Age and stuff like that. I know how insane the CEO of EA is, but let's be honest here, is that you guys took until 2024 to finish this game. Okay, so you had 2 years making that game up into 2017, and then somehow, somewhere, you guys finally told them it can be a one-player game again. So help me figure this out. So you were, because the game came out to be a one-player game, right? I'm trying to understand, because you're telling me that they wanted a live service now, and then they came back and it's like, ah, man, my bad. I'm just kidding, bruh. I don't actually want I don't want a live service now. So what conversation happened there? That's the one thing I don't like, is that they don't want to have that conversation. Maybe we'll hear it about it in a minute, because I'm over here just like, wait a minute. So now they changed their mind. So they're capable of changing their mind.
Out. The order that came down from Electronic Arts was simple, and it was not a suggestion. Design a single-player story with an ending. Joplin, the heist game, the small, confident pitch built on choices and consequences, did not fit that description and could never be bent into it. So BioWare killed it. 2 years of work, shelved in a decision that had nothing to do with whether any of it was good. And by the account that later emerged in the press, the night those marching orders arrived was the same night Mike Laidlaw walked out of BioWare.
Yeah.
14 years at the studio. The creative director, who had watched Dragon Age be crowned the best game in the world 3 years earlier, resigned the night he was told what Dragon Age was going to become. Other veterans followed him out. The people most responsible for what the series achieved were now, one by one, no longer in the building.
Yeah, I know this.
What
I already know
rose in
this.
Joplin's place was a project codenamed Morrison. Matthew Goldman, a longtime BioWare veteran, took over as creative director, with Dara still running production.
Always.
And in 2018,
Because he's a
fourth
cuck.
Dragon Age started over as a live service game. And because BioWare was already drowning, the rebuild came with a shortcut. Morrison would not be built from scratch. It would be built on Anthem's code, assembled on...
Okay, so you guys are retarded. So let me get this straight. You niggas came back and tried to do it anyway? Development of the game was restarted under the codename Morrison. Mark Darr remained as while Matthew Goldman took over the position. Who said this? From 2017. Initially, the game included a live service component based on Anthem's code, which developers felt was publisher EA's desire to emulate higher selling series, such as wait. So let me get this straight. A whole bunch of people, I get it. I already know about EA and what they do. Okay? My thought process is Mark Dara and a little bit of Matthew Goldman. Because I'm over here thinking to myself, niggas, what are you doing? Like, Mike Laidlaw was correct. If what you're saying is true and there's no fucking thing that you can do, nothing you can do, then why are you still working on a live service? Why are you still here? That's what I think. Why you still, you came back, it's like, okay, I'll work on it. It's like you do realize that as much there's more to it than just making a game and be like, oh well, I just want to be on the paycheck and I'll just fucking nonchalantly do it. So I'm trying to figure out, so and let's keep going, because I want to find the point. I want to find the moment that they just said, oh, you know what? Okay, you can do a one-player game.
On top of the systems and technology of the online shooter the rest of the studio was scrambling to finish. The staff who had spent 2 years designing heists and dialogue were now wiring a Dragon Age onto the skeleton of an online loot game. They had watched Anthem eat their teammates, their schedule, and now their design. And the people inside BioWare could see precisely what this new project was, because they gave it a nickname. According to the reporting that eventually dragged all of this into the light, some employees had a jeering shorthand for the next Dragon Age. They called it Anthem with Dragons. That nickname was less a joke than a diagnosis. The team looked at the project they had been handed and recognized it as a copy of the exact game that was bleeding their studio dry. And the diagnosis mattered.
Have conversation, bro. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna latch my fucking BioWare Studios to an evil corporation. Well, do you got incentives to make sure? I don't think it's an evil corporation. I think it's a stupid corporation that still makes money because, you know, people like FIFA and Madden and, you know, all that sort of stuff. But, you know, that sort of thing. And they like to make live services and, you know, stuff for Sims. And then they want to drown people's money because they got DLCs for Sims. And so I'm just thinking to myself, it's like, I am, because I'm still stuck. You know what I'm saying? Because my dad does this whole thing. I'm doing the same thing that my dad does. And I'm just like, was like, well, I'm with EA, Dad, and I'm with EA, and they suck, Dad, and I'm with EA every year, and they suck, Dad, and they make me do all this stuff, Dad, and EA was with me, Dad, and I'm like, and my dad would go, well, son, how did you get into this predicament? Well, can you change anything about this? Anything at all? Geez. Standing my ground and making hard decisions and hard choices as the executive, in fucking BioWare. Oh, geez. I would really like to do that, Dad, but it's so hard, Dad. It's so hard. I'm thinking I would rather either quit or just work at this company until they fuck me in the ass.
Because everything about Morrison was now being decided by live service logic. Its tone would need to stay light and friendly for an online audience that would live in it for years, and its story would need to bend around content that could be extended forever. The fourth Dragon Age was being grown from another game's DNA, and every one of those decisions would still be visible on the shelf in 2024. There was one obvious problem with treating Anthem as the template for Dragon Age's future. Anthem was about to come out. In February of 2019, the game BioWare had sacrificed Joplin to protect finally launched in the very month Dara believed a finished Joplin could have owned. It arrived broken. Endless loading screens, empty loot, missions that ran out within weeks, and review scores in the 50s. Territory BioWare had never been near in its entire history. The players who had been promised Destiny meets Iron Man evaporated in months. The team rebuilding Dragon Age in Anthem's image watched all of this happen from inside the same offices. And that spring, the media laid out exactly how it had happened. The now famous reporting on Anthem's development introduced the world to a phrase BioWare used internally: BioWare magic, the studio's faith that a chaotic, directionless project...
Not a real thing. They made that up because that's literally a term that they say when they literally don't know what the fuck they're doing. It is a made-up term. It is a made-up thing. The reason that they said this was because they wanted a lighter term that made it sound almost funny, but at the same time, bro, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. That's what BioWare magic means. That's the same thing with Bethesda jank. It is a funny term to mask the real term, which means we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Always comes together at the end. But the warning could not have been written in larger letters, and for a while, BioWare's leadership seemed determined not to read it. Morrison stayed a live service. Then 2020 arrived, and the two most senior figures at the studio stopped believing in the plan in the most visible way possible. Casey Hudson, BioWare's general manager and the director of the original Mass Effect trilogy, walked out. Dara, the executive producer who had carried Dragon Age for a decade, walked with him. The press...
Yeah, when he had a minuscule amount of balls, and then he came back. He's back right now.
Called them surprise departures, back to back, and the appetite inside BioWare for a live service...
David Gator left in 2016. The creator of the world exits before the mandate even lands. Mike Laidlaw resigns the night the live service order arrives. 2017, veterans one by one, the series makes follow him out. By the way, they didn't get their severance pay. Hudson and Dara, BioWare GM and Dragon Age producer, walk out together. But then he comes back. Don't forget that part. Don't forget that. Don't forget that.
Dragon Age left with them. Except nothing official changed. By the account that later reached the media, the multiplayer angle was dropped internally in 2020, but no reset was ordered and no announcement was made. The fourth Dragon Age drifted into the new year as a contradiction. A live service on...
All you need to do to actually pitch something good with EA is say, hey, you remember when the CEO of EA was saying, hey, you know what would be great is if we just had advertisements within the video games. Yeah, that's a stupid idea. So, do we want to add any more stupid ideas? Do you want any more stupid? Are we getting more money over these stupid ideas? Because, this is a good way to make negative money, okay? This guy over here wants to put advertisements within your video games. And then the way he talks, the CEO talks, is just like, I had a great idea. Like his eyes are soulless. Like literally soulless. And so he's like, I have a great idea. Wouldn't it be great if we just had like you could buy microtransactions on your phone and then get home and then purchase more microtransactions. And I'm over here just like, yeah, nobody's listening to that shit. Okay, it's not this whole live services are dying. And so the only way here's the thing, because this should have happened at the beginning, but now you're all already in double fucked land, okay? The only way that you're supposed to work with EA is to be like, yeah, we're not making that. It's the only way. Don't, because listen, I know how they talk. They like to the way the people within EA probably talk like this, like, oh yeah, you got to do this, man. You got no choice, man. You got to do this. You have no choice. You have no choice. You got to do this, man. We could fire all of you. You got to do this, man. You have no choice. You got to do this. He's like, oh, you're gonna get fired, man. And then all you have to do is say, yeah, we're not doing that. We're gonna focus on one-player games. The only way that we know how to make one-player games, and yeah, we're gonna focus on that, the way that we actually know how to make money. And if you want to dive in deeper, you can actually record that shit. Why not? You can record that shit. Fuck all that. It's like, hey, yeah, we're gonna do that anyway. And so then they're gonna have a conversations with themselves, and then they're gonna come back and be like, well, we can't fire all of them. We still need video games. And if we don't have people to make video games, then we make no money. You can't just, he's like, we've already tried to throw people at a studio and make a video game. It doesn't work. He's like, we need these people. And if they fucking up and leave or we try to fire them, then we have to worry about fucking getting sued and all this shit. Like, this is an actual thing. Did you know that if you get fired wrongfully, like wrongfully fired, depending on where you're at, okay? I don't know what it's like in Canada or fucking over there, but he's like, if you get wrongfully fired, you can sue and you could win. He's like, but the thing is, you got to try to find out. You have to find this shit out early. But they didn't do that because they saw that, I keep coming back to it. And I'm over here just like, bro, you can literally, BioWare, you could become your own producer. That's what EA did. They were like, yo, Madden, yo, all these games. Oh, we got car games. Okay, that's how they started. And you guys said, out of all these publishers, who should we go to? It would actually make more sense if they went to Ubisoft, to be honest. But they went to EA. That's so weird, bro. Even back then, I knew it was focused on sports. It was so weird. And I'm over here like, you could, and like I said before, they could have literally become their own publisher and helped publish other video games and then increase their revenue by bolstering smaller games that also did CRPGs. And then they could have made their own game. They don't need to go anywhere. The idea of seeing money literally closes people's minds. It closes people's minds. And so you have to do a scare tactic with yourself to where it's like, oh shit, we get all this fucking money and EA will let us make video games. Oh shit, we get funding through EA. That's great. That's awesome. But at what cost? You have to scare tactic yourself. You have to. It's like free money. Whose money is this? Oh no, it's all good, man. You're just gonna work with us and you're gonna make your own games, bro. Do your own thing, man. Make your games. Make your RPGs. Go make a game about dragons. Go ahead. And I'm like, with your money. Yeah, man, it's all good. It's all good. And then you make Dragon Age Origins, and they're like, such a good game, such an awesome game. You got 16 months to make the next game. Yeah. Chop chop. But you can't do that on this paper, on this paper, and I'm like,
Paper that its own studio no longer believed in, still built on the code of a game that was visibly dying in public. The contradiction held until February of 2021, and then it snapped. Electronic Arts publicly pulled the plug on the rescue.
if you were hoping for a return of the cooperative multiplayer from Dragon Age Inquisition for the next installment of the nobody said that. Bro, you listened to 50 Negroes on Reddit that were like, "Oh man, I kind of like that fucking multiplayer." Bro, who? Oh my god, bro. This you want to know who also listens to Reddit? Todd Howard. Yeah, how are they doing right now? This is what I'm talking about. Who are you talking to where you're just like, if you were hoping for the cooperative multiplayer, you want to know what's funny? If you told people that play Dragon Age Inquisition, like, it's like, hey man, you remember the multiplayer within Dragon Age Inquisition? They'd be like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Electronic Arts has officially ended development on a planned multiplayer feature in favor of making Dragon Age 4 a strictly single-player experience. What time period? Okay, so this is February 21st. So you're working with... Okay. You're working with the Schizo. So this is why... They started in 2018. And so they did this thing for 3 years. So 2018, because they did it in 2018, 19, 20, you know, and then 21st. So those 4 years, they were just like, he's like, hey, after 2 years, they're like, make a fucking make a fucking live service game. Chop chop. Never mind. Don't make a live service. Chop chop. And I'm over here just like, you already have a template for them being schizo with ideas with you. You didn't need Dragon Age 4 to help out. You didn't need to do all this. It was so unnecessary. You had a template of EA ideas that already fucked up. And everybody knows within capitalism, if something doesn't work, then try something else, or go with the tried and true. And they were just like, make Dragon Age Andromeda. He's like, well, okay, well, this didn't work because this is not tied to Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and the story was horrible, and all this stuff. Like you needed to let Mass Effect settle. You needed you should have never made Mass Effect Andromeda, because you know what you should have done is that you could have interweaved a different story within Mass Effect along this whole story with, you know, with your Shepard. So you could have done something with N7. You could have done something with the Commandos, with the Asari. You could have done like something within the Krogan where you could actually become a Krogan or something. You could have interweaved different smaller stories that seemed big within the trilogy that you were in. You didn't need to go to a new fucking area. That was retarded. You could have been like, bro, what if I saw my Shepard? And that would have been cool, a cool moment. But you decided to be like, well, let's just, my face is tired. Let me go all the way over here. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that? You would have sold more if you told people, hey, your story is within Mass Effect 2, interweaved with like the story that you had with Shepard, and they'd be like, bro, what if I saw this, or what if I saw that, or what if I talked to this person as a instead, and they had contacted Shepard, and then, oh man, the intermingled is like, oh man, that makes my toes curl because it would have intermingled with the Mass Effect trilogy that I played. But no, they said, let's go this way. And I'm like, nigga, what? Why? And then here's the other one, Anthem. I'm going to be honest with you, flying around in Anthem is great. After that, nothing else. Also, the story was bad. I don't know who you're picking up as writers. Stop. By the way, this is leadership. This is leadership's problem. The leadership are picking up writers that suck, and then they don't say anything. This is what happens when you have horrible leadership. I think it's Casey Hudson doing Anthem. This is what happens when you have poor leadership, where they're just like, oh man, you could work on the writing. Okay. And then they work on the writing, and then Casey Hudson sees that shit, and then he's just like, well, I don't want to be mean, nigga. Nigga, what are you doing? Be mean. It's another thing where I'm just like, bro, you have to be man enough to tell somebody that their shit is wrong. You have to be man enough. And also the idea of it being a multiplayer. That's another thing. You're getting a different crowd now. You're getting a whole different crowd. And I'm over here like, well, EA told us to do that. Okay, that's fine. All right, that's fine. It's fine to fuck up and fail. You want to fuck up on Andromeda? Fine. You want to fuck up on Anthem? Fine. But fucking up on Dragon Age 4 after all of this, that's your fucking problem. Because you didn't look in the back seat, you didn't look in the rear view mirror and be like, hey, we can't do multiplayer games or live services because check that out. You see that? You saw what we did with that? Oh yeah, that didn't make money. Yeah, that didn't make money, but we need to make money. Oh yeah, I like money. Yeah, we need to make money. So we already have a template. Like I said before, we already have a template of already fucking up. But if we keep on doing the same fuck up, well then it's us that's the problem, not EA.
Effort that was supposed to rebuild Anthem, giving up on the game for good. And in the same stretch, the live service
Here's another thing that I forgot to mention. Who are the other people within EA? Oh, I'll tell you. I'll give you one. This is a pretty easy one. The same person that made It Takes Two and Split Fiction are within EA. They make co-op games where people just play it once. Yes, it's probably less money, but it's still money that EA spends for that person to make No Way Out and Split Fiction. It's not a live service, it's just two people playing one singular story mode sort of game. So how come this nigga made like, what, 3 games? I think he's on his 4th. He's been working with EA. And why is everybody else doing just fine with EA-ish, but it's only you that's fucking up?
Version of Dragon Age was terminated with it. 2 things had made the argument. Anthem's corpse was one. The other was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Electronic Arts' own single-player hit, which had outperformed every projection.
Also another thing. Star Wars Jedi The Fallen Order and Star Wars Survivor. I know Star Wars Survivor didn't make as much as the first one. There were a lot of complications with the story and with the not the story too much, but it's mostly the performance. That was the biggest one, but you could say the writing as well. This was another game that was a single player game. And so I'm thinking to myself, it's like watching everybody else in the football team work out, and that one person drags the whole team because they're not built for that shit. Everybody else is out there hustling and doing their own thing, and then you see this little kid with glasses, and he could barely fit his fucking armor and shit, and he gets tumbled, and I'm just like, no, nigga, you're not built for this, or you're either not built for this, or you need to do something else. You see what I'm saying? Something's wrong.
while the service games burned.
Another one-player
Law &
game,
Order
by the
sold
way.
millions, and inside a company where the only scoreboard is sales, that was the exhibit that mattered. So the belief cracked. Not everywhere, and not for good, but enough to change one game's fate. Dragon Age could go back to being what its fans wanted. A single-player role-playing game. Gary McKay, the executive who inherited BioWare after the exits, would eventually describe the pivot as the studio getting back to its identity.
Right.
On paper, this is the happy turn in the story. The mandate was dead.
No, we need to get back to what we're really great at. All of your niggas within BioWare are brand new. So you don't have any veterans. You got some people in there that are probably half veteran. You got a lot of niggas that are within BioWare that are Andromeda, Anthem, and Veilguard people. That's what you got in your team.
And for the first time since Joplin, the studio was allowed to want what its fans wanted.
Also,
in practice, nobody...
Also, does that general manager look like a fucking gamer? No, he doesn't. He looks like grandpa who's about to like vote for fucking Ronald Reagan again.
He handed BioWare a reset. There was no fresh pre-production, and no chance to tear the project down and rebuild it around what the story needed. Instead, by the account assembled in the reporting, the team was required to change the game's fundamental structure and narrative on the fly, inside a window of roughly 18 months, the stretch where the game's foundations had to be locked for good.
Wait, what? Dragon Age, 18 months, no reset. After the decision was taken to abandon the multiplayer, BioWare was not granted a full reset. Instead, the development team was required to change the game's fundamental structure and narrative on the fly within 18 months. It said February 21st. Wait. February 21st. It's February 2021 is when they made that decision. February 2021 is when they made the decision to go back to one player. 18 months. You got 2022, and then 2023, and then the game came out in 2024. Am I getting my math wrong here? Am I getting the math wrong here? I feel like I'm getting the math wrong here. You see what I'm saying? I'm over here like, it only 18 months, no reset. I'm like, no, we got the information before that it said February 2021 was when they said, ah, shit. Well, it's probably like around January, because the news maybe doesn't travel fast to game journalists. So I'd say January 2021 ish. So I'm over here just like 18 months, and I'm like, they just told you to go back.
Okay. A window of roughly 18 months. The stretch where the game's
numbers ain't adding up.
Had to be locked for good.
The numbers ain't adding up.
To convert a game that had spent 3.5 years being designed as an online service into the kind of single-player epic this studio used to spend half a decade building. A conversion like that does not remove the old game. It seals the old game inside the new one, like a fossil in rock. The mission structure built for repeatable online play.
3.5 years as a live service. Missions, loot. No, wait, no. You gave me the information, so I'm trying to understand. You had 2 years. 2 years they were working on Dragon Age 4. And then in 2017, October 2017, if I remember correctly, they told you to work on that. And that took 2017, 2018, 2019, and then 21st. But there was a little bit. What about the two? There's supposed to be 2 years right up here. 2 years they were working on a one-player game, and then 3.5 years, okay, and then 18 months, which doesn't make any sense because you said around here that around February 2021, and then there's February 2021, 22, 23. The game came out in 24. So what do you mean 18 months? That's more than 18 months. I don't, bro, something's wrong here. Something ain't adding up. Something ain't adding up, bro.
Remained, and so did the systems designed around loot and cooldowns. And the tone stayed too. The light, friendly, nobody gets hurt voice. It had been picked because a live service lives or dies on the widest, most casual audience it can hold.
No, that's not even fucking true. Because, bro, there were even Destiny had like range of different characters, and that game was doing pretty well. And that's another live service game. Also, the fact that let's remind ourselves, Elden Ring, you could play co-op through the whole game. So in a way, that's a live service too. You see what I'm saying? So you could play Elden Ring with your friend all the way through. You could even say Lords of the Fallen is a live service game because you could play, well, multiplayer, if you want to bring up different terms here. You could play the whole game on, together co-op all through the whole game. So I'm over here saying like, well, by the way, these whole ideas where we need to be safe were pitched by people that don't play video games, okay? These are pitched by losers who will say something stupid, pitch the idea, take the money, and you'll never hear from them again. So now that we know this, can we never have this again?
And it had soaked into thousands of lines.
Don't let us come back to this shit and be like, oh shit, well, it's like we made sure no high expectations, no low expectations. Didn't we have this conversation before?
Of dialogue that there was no time to rewrite. Of everything the fossil preserved, that voice was the piece that would cost the most, because tone is the first thing a Dragon Age fan touches, and re-recording an entire cast is the one repair a panicked schedule can never afford. Missions could be trimmed and loot could be rebalanced. The voice was in every scene of the game, and it was staying. Reporting that followed the collapse would put the result in a single sentence. The finished game retained elements of its multiplayer design, including limited player choices and limited narrative depth. From inside the building, that sentence reads less like an accusation and more like a confession of exhaustion. The developers were not blind. Many of them wanted a single-player Dragon Age, and now they finally had permission to make one.
Apparently not, because they just took it up the ass and just said, okay. So apparently not. So you apparently did not want it enough to where you decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do whatever EA says. And I'm over here just like, you have the, and then they come back and be like, oh yeah, my bad, bro, my bad, you could do a one-player game. And I'm over here just like, bro, conversations, people. You need to have conversations, and you need to have balls, okay? Not a coochie, because kicking somebody in the coochie apparently still kicking somebody in the coochie still hurts. So I don't know why people are like, but it hurts when you get kicked in the balls. Yeah, well, it also hurts when you get kicked in the coochie, okay? But what I'm saying is, you need to have enough balls to say no and when to say yes. But there are too many instances where they don't.
It was 18 months too late to actually make it. And while the team raced that clock, the company above them started taking away the people they were racing.
Oh, and by the way, like I said before, they're the only fucking developers out of all of the EA, what EA owns. This is the only studio that is struggling with EA. So that means who? Where is he? Where is he? This guy right here. This guy right here. Everybody remembers this guy. So why is it that the split fiction It Takes Two No Way Out developer, you know, with kids and a family, is able to have conversations within EA and actually do the or maybe it's not him, maybe it's the person, maybe it's the people that they work with. I think he's within these conversations. EA talks to every single one of these people. This is what publishers do, especially when it comes to Ubisoft and EA. They look for bitches. It's kind of like what's the term I'm looking for? It's they're trying to beat around the bush, where they're just like, oh man, you guys did so well with No Way Out and It Takes Two. Have you ever considered like a layered sort of live service where people can play as different yarn characters and they could go through different worlds and they could have a battle pass? And this nigga just said, no. Or how about the developer within Star Wars, the Fallen Order? It's like, oh, Fallen Order was so great. Fallen Order was so great. You got a fan base within Fallen Order. It's like, have you ever thought about having the single player, but also a side version, a multiplayer where people can zip around and like become like light and dark and hit each other with lightsabers, and there's a battle pass? No. And then they saw Mike Laidlaw, and then they saw Mark Dara, and then they saw Casey Hudson, and they saw them. He's like, hey guys, have you ever considered like a Dragon Age multiplayer game? It's like, no, we I mean, if that's what you want, I mean, okay, cool. So have that done in like 16 months. Yeah. Have that, yeah. Have you ever considered like maybe doing another Mass Effect? It's like, I don't know, we just did the trilogy. I mean, if we did something that's away from the trilogy, okay, yeah, do that. Okay, all right, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you next week to see if your game is done. That's them. I've seen these conversations. These people are, they are literally parasites, bro. But we already know that they're parasites. But these people in BioWare are the only niggas that don't know that these types of publishers are parasites. They're the only people that are just like, well, I don't want to say no.
With. In August of 2023, with the conversion...
They're looking for yes men. Exactly. And Mark Dara is the biggest fucking yes man of all. Next to Mike Laidlaw. Mike Laidlaw is a quitter. Mark Dara is a yes man. And Casey Hudson is a little bit of both. But, yeah.
In full swing, and the game still not coming together, a cost-cutting wave rolling through Electronic Arts reached BioWare, and layoffs hit the studio mid-rebuild. Veterans who had survived Anthem and the subsequent reboots were let go with the game unfinished on their desks. The message from above was not subtle. Deliver this game with fewer people, on the same clock. The game did not cooperate. By 2023, with the deadline immovable and the project still wobbling, a decision came down that tells you exactly how bad things looked from the top. BioWare's Mass Effect team, the other half of the studio, was pulled off its own work and sent in to get Dragon Age finished. On an organisational chart, that reads like reinforcements. Inside BioWare, it was an invasion. The two teams had been rivals for decades, different cultures, different philosophies. Functionally,
that's because Casey Hudson was right-wing, a man who was not fucking gay and had a fucking family. And then Dragon Age. Like, I'm pretty sure they're okay with each other, but why do you guys butt heads? That's the question you have to ask each other. Why did you guys bump heads with each other? You have to ask yourself that. It can't be like, oh, Mass Effect is making more money than me. If it is, Dragon Age developers, you're cucks. You're cucks. You're cucks. If I was with Dragon Age and then I saw Mass Effect with Casey Hudson making more money than me, I'd be like, all right, guys, we need to make something. And you had that with Inquisition, and then your thing, since you did so well with Inquisition, was the moment to be like, okay, so we need to make sure that we stick with this sort of parameter and fix with that. And then as soon as they start having talks about live service, you'd be like, nah, I'm trying to beat my score, because competition within video games is important. That way you have a better product. And then you have to think to yourself, well, it's like, nah, I don't want to focus on live services because I'll have more money when I do another one-player game. He's like, yeah, but you did the multiplayer, so isn't that? Nah, nobody gives a fuck about the multiplayer, so I'm trying to make that Mass Effect money, so I gotta make sure to mix in Inquisition with Origins and make sure I have a good writing team. I need to have a good engine. I need to have all these good things. Can you provide me the necessary money so I can get back on track with Dragon Age and stick to it? It's like, yeah, but I really want a live service. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. So, cough up that money. Let's get this shit done. So this whole idea that Mass Effect devs tried to save Veilguard, listen, I want the janitor to clean the trash. I don't want the janitor to be the programmer. Do you understand what I mean? You know what I mean? I see the janitor and I'm like, God, bro, janitor, have you ever thought about fucking, I don't know. I'm just gonna take a guess here. Janitor, have you ever thought about moving your way up to fucking game designer? I just want to clean the bathrooms. Okay, cool. I'll see you tomorrow. Bring your laptop. We got some great ideas. Jesus Christ, people are so stupid.
Two studios sharing a roof. There was an old joke at BioWare, retold to reporters years later, that captures it. The Dragon Age team was a pirate ship, veering off course but always reaching its destination. The Mass Effect team was the USS Enterprise, laser precise.
Wait. BioWare joked that Dragon Age team was a pirate ship veering off course but always reaching its destination, while the Mass Effect team was the USS Enterprise laser. How's that working out for you? Huh? How's that working out for you? You a pirate ship now? Huh? You little gay boy, you a pirate ship now? Bro, this is the most left-leaning and right-leaning thing I've ever fucking seen. Oh, it's a pirate ship with Dragon Age, and the USS Enterprise is laser precise because the developers do not fucking play around. Now, it's not even about sales. It is not about sales between Mass Effect and Dragon Age. It is about focus. Holy shit. It's about focus. Of course it is. So you mean to tell me Mass Effect minus Andromeda, they're just like, okay, well, we need to do this and we need to do this. And yeah, we need to make sure that we have a proper level design for this. Then here comes the Dragon Age developers holding Chipotle and a kitty. And they're just like, let's take a break, boys. I got kitties. And then they play that Sarah fucking lullaby song. And I'm like, nigga, who wants to paint my nails, son? Bro. Yep.
Now the Enterprise had been ordered to board the pirate ship and take the wheel.
It's like a big brother taking care of the little brother's bullshit.
Followed, according to the people who described it to the media, was a coup in everything but name.
I'm gonna let you know, being the veers off course always reaches its destination does not sound that I'm telling you right now, these were not nice terms. Okay? They were saying this is like, oh man, you guys are like the Enterprise, laser precise. Okay, all right. You guys are like pirate ships, you know, always veering off course, and yeah, you always reaching your destination. And then Dragon Age would leave that conversation like, fuck does that even mean? What the fuck did he mean? He's like, bro, he was calling you bullshit. He was calling you lazy. Bro, your dick is hard when you get called the USS Enterprise, okay? Your dick is not big. You have zero veins on your cock when you're called the pirate ship and you're veering off course. Okay? I'm have you ever gave somebody a compliment and then they insulted you right after? That's exactly what this is. It's like, hey man, you've been working out. Well, you haven't. The fuck?
The Mass Effect directors looked at years of Dragon Age work and scoffed that the Dragon Age squad had been doing a shoddy job. Dragon Age leaders started being excluded from key meetings about their own game. And with the ship now under new officers, the Mass
I know this story very well. Because Mark Dara was like, bro, what's going on in there? They were like, we don't need to talk to Mark Dara.
Effect team went after the biggest prize on board. They overhauled the game's finale. The overhaul actually worked. The reworked ending would go on to be one of the best received parts of the finished game, singled out by reviewers as the moment Veilguard finally feels like BioWare.
Okay. This might mean Fate of the Old Republic with Casey Hudson might be good. So that means Casey Hudson with his team came in, bro, it's just like the art book, bro. Half of the art book looked interesting, and then the other half of the art book had purple fucking shit everywhere. It was gay as fuck. The first half of the art book was like, oh shit. The first half, bro, one of the companions was this pale-haired, slightly toned, thicker than a Snicker, long red-haired, emerald-eyed woman with glowy eyes and a great sword. And I was just like, oh my god, fuck. And they threw that shit away. Mass Effect said, all right, we're going to put a redhead in here. And then Corny Bush came in and said, we're going to get rid of that and throw in Tosh. And I was like, you guys think I'm joking. Okay. No, you guys think I'm joking. No, y'all think, no, y'all think, y'all think I'm joking. Y'all think I'm fucking joking. Let me look. Give me something. I'll give you a little, I'll give you a side piece, but I'll show you the companions in a minute. Hold on. Here's what Casey Hudson had for you. This is true to Venter. True to Venter. This. Okay. All right. Give me a second. All pages with Solus? Stop. Stop being weird. God damn it. All pages with Solus. Women are weird. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Here it is. It's a snippet, but here it is. Here it is. You're gonna get mad. You're gonna get real mad. Here we go. Okay. So this was the lady with the great sword. Her hair is supposed to be red. This is her body right here. Right here. Can I zoom in? Like, this is her right here. This was supposed to be... This was supposed to be her body shape right here. Right here. With the gray sword. That's what she was supposed to be. This was supposed to be Tash. But they didn't do that. You see the one with the hips? The hips, like a body figure? You see that? There's this character. She's actually supposed to have red hair. I got more. I know there's one where it's like her in full color and it's a big picture. I'm gonna find it. Give me something. Give me something. Is this the book and all its pages? I don't believe it. No, no, it's a thing where you have to buy it. I'm not gonna fucking buy it. Oh, it's all on Tumblr. That's great. That's fine. Oh man, that's so great. All of it on Tumblr. Thank you. Thank you so much. Y'all can go back now to Tumblr if you want. It's another Solus fan. Oh my god. Just kill Solus off, bro. These fucking horrors are disgusting. Some interesting looking at Dragon Age art book as a gift. Art book potential companions. Here we go. There it is. Oh my god, there it is. There it is. There it is. Here it is. Look what they took from you. Like, look what they took from you. That's straight out of fucking Atlantis and shit. The book, like the fucking Atlantis. Look what they took from you. Like an attractive black woman. Look what they took from you, bro. Bro, look. Look what they... Look what... Look what they... Mass Effect devs. See, this is what she was gonna look like. Like, this was her fucking proportion with her. This was what Tosh was supposed to look like this. Tosh was supposed to look like this. She was supposed to. And I'll even go down to the... Here's another one. Here's another one. But they made her be a fucking Indian. It's like... See what I mean? Bro. See this fucking kick-ass armor? That's... I don't think this armor's... I think this arm is in the game, but nothing else. But yeah, you see what they took from you, bro? You see what they took? You see what they took? Would my hips look like that if I wore a skirt? No, then there is your answer. You can have hips like that. Yeah, you can have hips like that. Yeah, it's of course. It's like, man, they're so mad. Yeah, they're mad, bro. They're mad. They're so mad. They're like, interesting. I wish it was in the game. Yeah. So I think I'm going to end it at this. I think this is a good video. We need to still talk about more stuff. This is what she was supposed to look like. This Darkspawn character, I thought that was a fucking stupid idea. Making a Darkspawn become an ally, unless you're going to have an evil run. I don't see why you would have that. Stop trying to make Darkspawn out to be like an ally. Stop that shit. It's fucking weird. This is like, bro. But this is that's what I'm just saying, bro. I'll put them right in the... I'm telling you. I'm just gonna end it there on that video. Go ahead and check it out. There's more probably talk about. There's way more. I know I stopped on a lot of it, but I honestly don't want to hear these people say something like, oh man, it wasn't about the scar. Maybe he does bring up the scars. Maybe he does. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He does. But when it comes to Dragon Age, I get really sensitive about the issue. So if he does something where it's like, oh, it's not about the trans shit, I don't want to hear about that today. It's like, because this is what they fucking took from you, bro. They took this shit from you and they laughed. They laughed. They said, bro, I don't even want to try, bro. This could have been Tosh, but you didn't get that shit. You didn't get that. By the way, I want everybody to know this. The Dragon Age the Veilguard developers, the fucking trans people, tell me. I got a question, because I know it takes a lot of time to make characters and companions, but you took your time to make Tosh to look like the ugliest fucking piece of shit I've ever fucking seen. She looked fucking horrendous. But you took the time out of your schedule. Like we could talk about the whole game, not, we could talk about the whole game, but I want to talk about you failing at all of the companions, because that's a gift. You already had a template right here to make attractive and badass characters. You had a template right here. But why did you choose not to use this? I think your progressivism and your fucking libtard demonic bullshit is what got you into trouble in the first place. That, and also bad leadership. So like I said, they saw this character, she was already finished, her design was already finished, and they saw this and they were just like, too feminine, too attractive, too for the male gaze, and they snatched it right off. Even with the dwarf, I don't even like dwarves. She looks all right. But in the game, she looks like a fucking froppy looking a troll. Or even this character right here. By the way, 2 white women out. They didn't want that. Now this is not some sort of, man, well, it's going to take some time to make the characters. No, they had the template right here and they threw it away. This is not some sort of, man, but we can't make these characters because it's their idea. No, nigga. They could have immediately used these characters, but they chose not to. Turns out if your character's attractive enough, her having one leg doesn't bother you. But you made her fucking become a... Really? We had one attractive black character, and they were just like... She looks like fucking like a witch storm. And this one, I could smell the hate. Corin Bush and their fucking cohorts saw this and they were just like, send in the queers. All of them? Oh! And they got rid of her. Oh man, what's this? A woman with a figure and she walks like a woman, like a diva. This reminds me of Mass Effect for some odd reason. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I think Casey Hudson will make a good Photor game, but who knows? He could fuck up on his own. I think the fact that he's not working with EA gives him a little bit more wiggle room, but we'll see. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Bro, is this a rerun? No. It's okay though, because they owned... Oh yeah, they did own the Chuds. They won! The modern devs don't want curves. They want fat foids and genital mutilation. True. 100% true. Oh my god, I don't want to talk about Dragon Age anymore. Good lord. So apparently Wizard of the Coast is working on Dark Sun, a different Dragon Age sort of type of theme and art style. Apparently this is the realistic Dark Sun, and this is the Dark Sun that they're trying to pull off. By the way, that's a woman. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, good luck with that. Wizard of the Coast can't help themselves. Oh, I didn't mean that. I did not mean that. I don't want to talk about that anymore. It's okay, but they own the chudge. Exactly. Exactly. Did I talk about Dragon Age for 2 hours? I did. I totally did. Ugh, fuck. I did talk about Dragon Age for 2 hours. And I'm already getting a headache. I'm definitely going to post this one. I'm going to post this. Okay? But I had other things that I wanted to talk about. Totally did. I had other things that I wanted to talk about. I'm just going to leave this all here for tomorrow. Because that Dragon Age thing, I'm tired, boss. But, and we're here for it. I appreciate it. Reddit leak from Square Enix showed a graphic of a female character. There was a note under it. Redesign was made in response to requests to conceal her femininity as much as possible. Show me that up on Discord. I'll talk about that later. That's something I do want to talk about. Yeah, send that to me on Discord. I'll talk about it. Yeah, that's I won't, because we need this information for later. We 100% need that. Yeah. Hold on. Love this music. I can bring it up a little bit. That's what constitutes the consultants do. They make endless requests like that. Talk about literally having the easiest job of your life to fuck up other people's stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, if I had a job to where it's like I want to make people have less money, I'd be living the dream, baby. It's like, hey man, I'm here. I'm a consultant. So what do you got for me? So I got this game right here. Yeah, nobody's gonna like that. Make her look like a troll. Awesome, cool. So that'll be $10,000. I'm over here just like, bro. All right. Well, I'm sending you guys over to Hypnotic. Thank you so much for coming. We do have more Hard Rant stream tomorrow, and we're gonna play video games tomorrow. Sorry, I've been holding off on video game. I didn't think I was gonna talk about Dragon Age for 2 hours. I need to go to sleep. I need to get some rest, and I'll start in the morning. We have a Discord. Yes, we do. Yeah, we do. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for coming here. I'll see you guys. 67 people. What the hell happened? Am I? How did? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll take the win. I'll take the W. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.